Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Here is Mr. Saeed, science teacher. How are you, my dear students? How are you, everybody? Today, inshallah, we'll complete lesson 5. How do scientists use tools and stay safe? Lesson 5 in Skills Handbook, Part 1. We already started in this lesson, and we will try to take today, inshallah, another part in the same lesson. We already talked in the previous video as an introduction what is the importance of the tools for the scientists. And we said we have four importance for the tools. We can use tools to observe, uh, or to measure like what, like volume, length, distance, mass, and so on. And we can use some tools like computers to record and to share data that you collected. And finally, we can use some tools like binocular camera to observe the objects more clear or appear more larger. Today, inshallah, we will know different kinds of tools and their usage. But before I start, let me read this text in page 322. Okay, in this page you will find tools for measuring and observing. As we said, the main usage for the tools is for to measure and to observe. Okay, so here the text scientists use different tools for different kinds of observations and measurements. Most measurement tools have units of measure. Here it's a very, very important scientific term which is called a unit of measure. What is the meaning of unit of measure? Is the quantity you use to measure something. Scientists use units of the metric system when they make measurements. For example, meters and centimeters are metric units used to measure length. Exactly. Okay, I can here give you another example. We have in the metric system or in the main system or general system or global system, we have standard units. Standard units, for example, for the mass. The standard units of measure for mass is gram, kilogram, or ton. Okay, they are different units that you can use it to measure different masses. Okay, you might be familiar with the units of the United States system. Here that's mean we have two systems. We can use it. We have metric system and we have United States system. Okay, in the metric system, for example, the units of measure for the length, for example, is meter and centimeter and kilometer. But the units of measure in the United States system is different. In that system, feet and inches are used to measure length. Okay, that's right. Now we will know some kinds or some types or different types of tools that the scientists use to use it or need it. Okay, the first one, graduated cylinder here. Graduated cylinder is very, very important tools in the lab. Okay, as the scientist can be used to measure volume. Graduated cylinder used to measure volume. What is the meaning of volume? Volume, it means the amount of space and objects takes up. So that is mean if you have some water, some milk, some juice, any liquid, and you will fill the graduated cylinder with your liquid, you can get the amount of this liquid uh, that that takes up inside the graduated cylinder. Okay, so what is the unit of measure for the volume? Volume is measured in milliliters, okay? And milliliters for your information is one of the units to measure the small volumes. Okay, so that is mean we have a unit of measure for large volumes, which is liter. Okay, so the second one here, thermometer. Thermometer measuring what? Measuring temperature. And thermometers, all thermometers are marked in degrees, like front of you here. Okay, but we have two graduations, 2 degrees. One of them called Celsius and one of them called Fahrenheit. Okay, scientists usually record data in degree Celsius. Most of time, scientists depend on the Celsius degree. Okay, as we can see here, we have two thermometers, and you can check the reading of the thermometer by observing the red line here in the middle of the thermometer, and you will get the graduation or the number that is pointed on the thermometer. Okay, the third the third type here, clocks and stopwatch, and all of us know the stopwatch used to measure time. Okay, and we have here at the bottom of this page ruler and meter stick, and we know that the ruler or meter stick used to measure the length, but the main thing, the ruler is used to measure length only, for the used to measure the small lengths only, like if you want to measure the length of your book or your pencil or whatever, if, about small lengths. But the meter stick used to measure the large lengths, like if you want to measure the length of a wall or door or anything that is so high or has a very large length. Okay. In the next page, 323, we have more tools, like here number 4, two pan balance. Balance, all of us, we know the balance used to measure what? To measure the mass. Okay, so the balance like the one above can be used to measure objects mass in grams. Okay, why? Because this is called sensitive balance, and this is usually used to measure the very, very light objects like gold or chemicals, while we have another types of balances with two pans as well. This balance used to measure the heavy objects like fruits or vegetables. Okay, the main thing is to check the mass of any object, that let the both pans of the balance be equal or be the same, to can get the right mass exactly for the object that you measure. Okay, here we have a very, very important tool, which is called microscope. Microscope used several lenses to make objects appear larger. So we need microscope most of time inside the lab, if we want to observe the very, very tiny objects like bacteria or anything that you cannot see it by your naked eye. So you will put it under the microscope, and you can check it by using the microscope, and the microscope should has several lenses, and you can change it by between these lenses, switch between these lenses till you see the tiny object that you want to observe it or want to check it very clearly, and to know more detail about it. Okay, so here microscope, but there is no any lab that is doesn't have microscope. Microscope is one of the main tools inside any lab. Okay, the last tool here, a hand lens. A hand lens, all of us we know, your grandpa or your grandma The old people usually they have the hand lens for why? Because the old people cannot see the things very, very well, especially when they are reading any book. So they have to use the hand lens to make the things more close, more clear, and to let them have the ability to read very well. So hand lens enlarge objects too, like the microscope, but the microscope used to observe or to check more tiny objects, the very, very tiny object. You cannot see use the hand lens to check the bacteria, for example. You can bacteria. It's not the suitable tool that you can use it to check something like bacteria. But what can I do here? I have to use microscope. Just hand lens is just used for reading or something like this. So it doesn't enlarge objects as much as microscope does. It's easier to carry though. Okay, the difference between the hand lens is that and microscope, that the hand lens easy to carry it, easy to hold it from one place to another place. You can put it in your pocket, and we have different types, different kinds, different sizes of the hand lenses. Thank you so much. That is enough in this video, guys, and see you soon, inshallah, in the next video to complete this lesson. Bye. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.